Hello, hello, and welcome again to Double Espresso Show powered by Pearl Coffee. Today we're joined by a very special guest, Paul Selman. Now, Paul is a multiple times business owner, a successful business owner who has now started teaching people how to do business correctly, how to succeed, how to increase your profits, and he, as a result, has become business coach. He does teach at the Gherkins, famous location Gherkins in London. He speaks at multiple business events, and also on a weekly basis he's a head coach and a trainer at the Peterborough Academy, which is run by Joseph Walence in Peterborough, called the Trade Mastermind. So here we go. Warm welcome, Paul. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me on the show. It's great to be here. I love the coffee already, so it's good to know that I'm well catered for.
That's good. That's good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So tell us, for those who don't know you, what's your background, how you started, how it all began?
Yeah, sure. So, I started actually as an engineer. I was on the tools. I did this as part of the Royal Navy training first, so I'm ex-military. Had various jobs before that, but I just ended up going into a career in the military. Once I left that, I decided to keep on the tools, and it was at that point I decided to start my own business, which was a business in the gas engineering sector. Now, like most people, I got into business without any thought about how to actually run a business. I just thought if we just get started, things will eventually get better. As long as I keep working harder and harder and harder, things will get better and better and better. What actually happened is they ended up getting worse and worse and worse. And it was only when I started getting some coaching myself that I actually started to develop as a business owner. Once I'd learnt some lessons and I started to improve that first business, which was in the trade and the construction environment, I then went on to implement the lessons that I'd learnt in that environment into other environments. And then I've developed a property business since then, a consultancy company. I'm active in the stock market. I teach and trade, teach other people how to trade the stock market as well. So that's how I've developed businesses. So I'm always about improving on the learning that I've had. And then trying to get as many passive types of income as I possibly can. I got told very early on in my career that, or very early on in this personal development space, that most millionaires have at least 7 streams of income. Mm-hmm. And this is why I'm constantly trying to build them up. So eventually I've got as many passive incomes as I can.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great. And when you started your business, what are the biggest challenges that you faced?
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the main ones is not knowing what to do. Mm-hmm. There's 4 key pillars I've found in business: marketing, sales, operations, and finance. Mm-hmm. The problem with most business owners is they just end up in business and they learn operations and operations only without concentrating or even knowing that they need to know anything about marketing, sales, and finance. So it's no wonder progress is kind of weighted against them. So you do need to concentrate on learning some of the stuff that you don't know. So some of the main challenge that I had is I knew what work I wanted to do and what type of clients I wanted to do it for, but I didn't know how to do any marketing skills. So I didn't know how to reach out to these people and then get enough of a steady flow of these types of jobs in order to sustain a business, especially without me working in it. So I knew how to get busy. Sometimes a busy fool, a lot of business owners I still find, and it's said with love because I was exactly the same. I just thought the more services that I can offer out to everybody, the more things I can say yes to, the better the business will get, or the more money I'll make. All that really happened is that I just became busier and less profitable because there was no focus or direction in the business that was going to eventually lead to that profit. So that's a challenge. Trusting people with your name, especially with your first business, you tend to find that it's your baby and you don't want to take the risk of other people ruining your name. So recruitment was non-existent for me. I hadn't recruited a single engineer because I didn't dare. And the problem with that, though, is you can never scale. There's only so much money that one set of hands is ever going to earn you. And without actually taking that leap of faith and learning how to recruit good people, and then more importantly, keep good people, is another massive failure that I see lots of business owners failing at, and obviously what I failed at initially myself. So without knowing how to market and how to recruit properly, these are going to be key to growing any business. People don't even realise sometimes what industry they're in. I used to think I was in the plumbing and heating industry. I get people that think they're in the building game, and you have to explain to them you're not. You don't even realise what industry you're in. You're in the sales and marketing industry. Just the product that you sell is just different, and that's the operations bit. Yeah. Once you realise that your industry is based around marketing and sales, and to be fair, public speaking. People don't even
Yeah.
realise that they're in the public speaking game, and they don't realise that, but they are, because most of the clients they go to see they've never met before, and they need to use their public speaking skills to improve those relations and create a good first impression.
Yeah. Well, that's very interesting you say that, because I've heard you speaking at Gherkin, and one of the things you said to the small businesses who were there, some of them were turning over 100K plus, some of them 500,000 plus, some of them actually gone over the million. But the problem is that sometimes they're one-man band or maybe two-man operation, and you trying to install to them the motto that actually get off the tools.
Yeah.
Now, can you tell us more about getting off the tools, how important it is, and what is the first step someone can do to get off the tools? Whatever industry you're in, maybe you are in a cafe, well, obviously it's my industry, cafe, restaurants, etc. And you find a lot of the times that people could improve their business if they didn't spend so much time in the kitchen. Because it's not, they can find someone else who can do that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
They can find someone else to make the coffee and teach them proper barista skills, and then leave them to do their job while he or she can focus, the owner can focus on actually financials, the spreadsheets. So what's the first step someone can do to actually get off the tools? What's your recommendations?
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, you've already highlighted the importance of this. And the reason there is an importance needs to be placed on this is because all the while that you're working in the operational part of your business, you won't be able to work on your business because you're constantly working in it. And it sounds like a cliche, but all the while you're doing operations, you can't concentrate on marketing, you can't concentrate on sales, you can't concentrate on all the other development areas. So you actually, as everybody's business owner has, they have a choice to make, and it's either stay as a smaller business and a 1 or 2 man operation, or decide to move from the tools or whatever that discipline is and into business ownership. Because we don't just find this in trades. Obviously, this is where my experience lies, but I tend to find plumbers run plumbing firms, electricians run electrical firms. But if you go into any other industries, you find that lawyers start legal practices, accountants run accountancy firms. It always starts with something that people learn how to do. Some of them get so good at it, then they get asked by more people to do it. And before they know it, they've got a business, but they haven't learned any of the other stuff. So the way I'd get around this and work out how I can then stagger my release from the tools is by first and foremost getting a company structure together of what my business needs to look like for it to work without me. So who's involved? So most businesses would have a CEO at the top, an ops manager, a sales manager, some operators, some salespeople, and then maybe finance and admin. So distill that company structure first and then put some names in the boxes. If your name is in every box, we've then obviously discovered the problem. Now, what I'd then do is I'd then work out where I spend most of my time at the moment. So say in the coffee industry or in the cafe industry, if you're finding that you're spending 10 hours a day in the kitchen, you've got absolutely no idea what's happening in front of house because you can't control that. So if you think that could be an area that's suffering, first person you're going to get involved is a chef to replace you for 10 hours a day on the tools. Then you can then step back and look at what happens front of house, what happens in the kitchen. Eventually then, once you've moved into or moved away from that role, you can move mainly into sales and marketing and bringing more people through the door. Eventually systemize that. Once you get overworked in that area, then that's when we need to buy our time back by recruiting talent. And eventually you want to get to the position where you're not really managing director of the company. That's the last role that you fill. You get somebody in to manage the entire operation, and then you become a CEO. Now, in my opinion, the difference between a CEO and the owner is still quite a distinct one. So a CEO should be able to leave their business running and go away, and they still make the same money that they make when they're there, or not there, sorry. An owner is slightly different though. An owner should be able to leave their business for 3, 4, 6 months and it grow without them. And that's because they've got a dedicated senior management team that are dedicated to growing the business. So if you put it into a bigger format, it's like I own shares in Apple. So technically, I'm an owner of Apple. And I reckon if I left the country for 6 months, Apple have pretty much got it sorted. You know, they don't need my involvement. But that's how you should look upon your own business. You should be trying to build this organism from the ground up that can eventually work without you, generate cash, and then grow on its own.
Yeah. No, I have to quite agree with those because I met you probably 6 months to a year ago, and from hearing you speaking, I've implemented some changes to my business.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I can be off tools at any time. Sometimes I still choose to do or not time because sometimes someone can let you down and things can happen. Of
course.
But it's not something I have to do on a daily basis because the operations are there.
Yeah.
And it's like systems. You said to a lot of people, systems and operations. Same as Joseph said to people, you have to have systems and operations because if you don't do what you just told us, if you don't actually have enough confidence to actually start making small steps towards being actually an owner other than owning a job, because it's like Joseph says to us all the time. You can see his reels booming because he says, you see, if you don't do this, you just end up owning a job.
Yeah.
And is it better than when you used to work for someone else? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But the business, being actually the business owner, you can grow the business through a franchise. Maybe you can hire more people, get more jobs done, scale up your business,
That's true.
go nationwide. And having said that, do you think it's the confidence that stops people from making that actual step, saying, all right, tomorrow I'm not doing this. Tomorrow I'm actually investing money. Or what do you need to do actually?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's sometimes a lack of confidence there in the fact that they've never done it before and they haven't got any accountability or guidance. So that's what I pay my mentors for, is to give me the permission to make the move. Because business can be a lonely place sometimes, especially if you're the only person in business in your family like I was. I didn't come from a long line.
First generation, yes.
Exactly. So you can't, even though my dad was in banking, my mum was in legal services, so they're intelligent people, but it's a very different skill set when it comes to actually running a business from the ground up. So if you've got nobody to play those ideas off or give you permission to make that move, then sometimes you can get paralyzed by just not making a call, or you get paralyzed by analysis. And never get good at actually just making a decision. And making a decision quickly is one of the things that the best business owners can do. They will just make the decision, send the business on a particular trajectory quickly. If it's a wrong decision, they own it and they make a new one.
Yeah.
But they're always constantly moving forward. Some people just think if I stay doing exactly what I'm doing now and don't change anything, that's the safest place I can be. But what you tend to find is that when they stay still, they don't realize that the rest of the world moves around them and everything else keeps going. So keeping yourself moving and trying to, adapt ways of stopping yourself from procrastinating from making the decision is the important thing here. That you have to constantly be prepared to take that risk. Because in business, everything's a risk. However, if you want these outweighed rewards from the business, which is what most business owners get into business for in the first place, then you have to accept that comes with a certain element of risk. We do tend to find some employees, they think, it's just safer being an employee. But they don't realise sometimes that most business owners are winging it, just at different levels. So they go, I kind of counteract that. I'll say, look, at least I can own the fact that we wing it in business sometimes, but I am at least the master of my own destination.
Yeah, it's true. From my own research and experience, from doing numerous test groups and speaking to many cafe business owners, they are afraid to make that step.
Yeah.
They might have enough money saved up to actually invest in their learning and development by going into a course or a seminar. No one says that you have to obviously always buy a course.
No.
But you can go at least to open up your horizons to see what other people are doing. And that's when I started. I went to a few events like this and I thought, wow, there is actually a benefit of having a mentor, because once you have a mentor, the biggest, like you just said, the biggest problem in business or having your own business or owning your own job is that no one tells you what to do. No one motivates you. No one pushes you. You say, why are you not making 100K sales? Why are you only making 10K sales? What's stopping you? Why don't you do 4 jobs and not 2 jobs a day? What's stopping you there? You see? And because you don't have a boss who constantly tells you what to do or push you, you kind of can take a relax.
That's it.
Okay, I have enough to pay the bills, and that's it. And that's not what the business should be like. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some people might be happy with this, but a lot of other people that primarily we speak to actually want to improve, actually want to grow.
Of course they do, yeah.
Yeah. And what sort of courses would you advise people to look up? They say they got motivated by watching our video or interview. They think, okay, where should I click to find out more?
Well, look, I mean, there's a few different ways to look at this. So I'm quite an advocate now of the personal development space anyway, because you can go down a professional development route or a personal development route. Now, I think there's not much point in doing the professional development until you know who and understand who you are as an individual anyway. So I'm still quite an advocate of having different mentors for different things. So I've got 4 mentors at the moment.
Wow.
But they're all in different industries, because I think having niche experience and having that clear, defined path of somebody who's walked that route before you is more important, and it's more time saving than any other type of mentorship. So, but you've got to work on yourself mentally. First, I'm a big advocate of doing things like fitness, reading a lot. Well, I would say reading, I cheat, I use Audible. Lots of time traveling, so why not? And just making sure that all of the main bases are covered first. So I take care of my health. Before personal development, I used to smoke 30 a day. If I'd had a good day at work, I'd finish with a glass of wine. If it was a bad day, I'd finish with a bottle. I used to think I used to train religiously, but in reality, it was more like Christmas, Easter, and Ramadan. That's the only times I went down the gym. So it's just, you need to hone in on all those personal skills first, and then once you've actually got yourself into a better mental perspective, then go for niche experience in industries and just keep developing that way.
Yeah. And what would you say? Because it's also about surrounding ourselves. Because me and you, it seemed like we have a similar journey. We came from, not a lot of wealth, put it that way. And our parents were not the generational wealth. They haven't created for us any sort of pillars to step on and show us the way up. And I think this is homogenous to all other little business owners. They didn't have necessarily the best start and advice from the young age, secrets passed from father to son, etc., etc. So they have to figure out it somehow. And if they don't figure out, and if they don't try to go on the courses, read up about it, or actually start implementing the changes, I mean, don't you think that they are destined to be stuck at their level?
Well, they can do, but everything's a choice. Like I said, it's just some people are born into a more fortunate position than others. However, I've met a few wealthy people in my time now, and I've yet to meet a trust fund kid that's actually happy. I think that you actually get a lot of happiness from the journey itself and from the struggle. I did realise actually this about myself via a mentor once. I got my first property deal about 3 months into that journey, and I just signed the contracts on this. It was going to earn me about £2,500 a month for very little work, and I was thought I'd be happier. But when I was on the train journey back down from Middlesbrough to London after signing contracts, I realised that I wasn't happy. If anything, I was quite depressed. And I rang my mentor at the time. I said, look, I can't work out why I'm unhappy. And he says, look, you just discovered something about yourself that lots of entrepreneurs do come round to eventually, and it's that you get a lot of your gratification in this world and a lot of joy in the world from the struggle of trying to get the money. When the money's come too easy to you, and that deal was quite easy to put together, you feel like you've been robbed because they've taken the struggle away. And that's where you're getting your pleasure. You think you have to work hard for money. In reality, money's actually quite easy to come by, but you need to reframe your thought processes.
Yeah, get to that top.
That's it. So I still think, especially for my kids, it's still, yes, I will give them a helping hand. However, I'm expecting them to still find their own path, and Dad will always be there to help guide them. But whether or not they take that guidance is another matter.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I've got two very independent children who want to do their own thing anyway, which is good. But as long as I can set a good example there for them, then that's the main thing. If you don't have that in your life, then you have to reach out and find someone. You become a sum of the people that you spend the most time with. Great believer in that. So if you want to upgrade your life, you end up first and foremost having to upgrade your circle. I mean, I had people as I've developed saying that you've changed. And I go, yeah, thank Christ. Yeah, this is what I was trying to do. It's cost me a fortune.
Yeah, and and the thing is you're right. You say it's what you just mentioned now is a circle. It's a lot of people, they grow up in a certain area and they have a certain amount of friends who may be in that industry that they have business in, or who may not be in that industry, who may not be so successful as they might look up to. So the number one advice is obviously tell me your, what is it called? Tell me your 5 friends and I can tell you your future.
Yes,
but you can't necessarily quickly change your friends or sign up to David's Law Gym and just send your friends. So what you can do is sign up to a training event, or broaden your horizons. Even with probably buying self-help books for a start, how to grow a business, and then eventually you're looking for a mentor. Once you're looking for a mentor and you're working with a mentor, hopefully then you will have a bigger circle of friends, of people, not call them friends, but people who actually think like you and who want to grow.
That becomes your new norm.
New norm, yeah.
That's it. And once you've done that, you just realise that every time you want to go to that next level, you just need to start just hanging around with people that are already at that level, and you naturally gravitate there anyway. So.
Yeah, it's very useful advice. And one more question. What's your top advice or top, say, even top 5 or top 3
Yeah.
advices for the businesses to succeed in the coming year?
Okay, cool. You need to, especially with the climate, we don't know how it's going to change with the autumn statement. I'm guessing taxes are going up. Okay, so knowing your figures is probably the foremost importance. I'd say that some business owners will bury their head in the sand and they'll just assume that if they're busy, they must be profitable. That's strictly not the case. You need to understand some key metrics in your business, what your turnover is, what your variable cost is, what your gross profit is and your gross profit margin, what your cost per acquisition is, the cost it takes to acquire one customer. Having tight control over your overheads to make sure that you're not earning loads of money on the top line and it's all wasted on the bottom line through expenses you don't need has to be controlled. And people tell me all the time they get into business to make money, but very few business owners that I see on a first meeting ever can even tell me how much operating profit they're making a month. So I say that that's something that you have to keep in check if you do want to make money. So there'll be that one. Obviously, marketing. You cannot grow a business without marketing. You can grow a good career and a good living without marketing, based out on word of mouth. But if you don't market effectively and learn how to do that, then you'll be lost. And always have a sales focus. You have to turn some of those leads into sales, or what is the point in the business? So yeah, keeping an eye on marketing, sales, and finance is going to be key. I'd say.
Oh, that's very good. Well, thank you very much, Paul, for your feedback and for answering all our questions. And
no problems.
Again, thank you very much for coming to our show. Is there anything else that you would like to add that maybe businesses can benefit from, and how do you see the future of UK business?
Okay.
So more like for the next 3, 4, 5 years, more long term. Because some people who are watching us might be just starting their business, might be in the process of setting up their business, and they're worried, is it the best time? How should I do it? What should I be aware of? And just generally, what's the outlook? Because a lot of people have negative outlook on the future. They think by 2030 we're going to have all the, all those restrictions, ULEZ everywhere. That's one way of looking at it. But the other way of looking at it, actually, what can we do to become so successful and join successful people so we're not affected by it, and maybe even we can change it, because if enough of us doing the right things and have enough power with a big enough business, big enough influence and a lot of followers, then maybe we can change things in the future for the better. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, and it's all done on, people always have a bit of a doom and gloom perspective on the world, but I always think where there's problems, there's also opportunities. So one of the major things that I had to change first as I decided to grow a very unsuccessful business into a successful one was the fact I used to have to tune out a lot of this negativity. So I used to be a very avid listener to LBC. And then I'd try and do all of my sales appointments in the evening after I'd listened to 12 hours of how bad the world is, how World War III's coming, how everybody can't afford everything and there's a cost of living crisis. And when I actually started tuning that out, my business got better. So I'd say, look, concentrate on your own journey. Governments come and go. Yes, there's going to be probably some shake-ups at the moment, but just be aware that you have to have a robust business that if you concentrate on will be robust enough to weather most storms, unless it's naturally going into an industry that might be on the decline anyway. Pay for good tax advice if you can afford it. They're then paid to keep an eye on your tax situations. Unfortunately,
Sorry to stop you a second. So tax advice is not the same as a basic chartered accountant, no?
It's not, no. Most people get most of their basic tax advice from their accountants initially. Eventually you need to upgrade that into independent tax advice. They keep your accountants in check. Eventually you need an IFA, so when you do get the money out of your businesses, you need to know where to invest it with an independent financial advisor. So there's different levels to that. But just make sure that you're aware that you are the master of your own destiny, really. Okay? And you need to keep pushing that journey. Don't be distracted by all the negativity in the world. There are always going to be problems. Okay, learning how to overcome them and still think of it in a positive mindset is going to be one of the most important things that you can do if you want to grow as a business owner. You get paid as a business owner when you can solve the problems. Okay.
Yeah, very wise. Well, again, thank you, Paul, for coming. Thank you for your detailed interview. And we hope that we will keep succeeding, that you will succeed as well. And
I hope the same
we turn the problems into opportunities.
That's it.
Okay.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Cheers.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Today we're going to speak to you about branding and importance of the brand in your cafe or restaurant. Now, a lot of people are really missing a trick here. You already have a signage of your branded name on your restaurant, on your coffee shop, but the coffee you're buying is Lavazza or some other company. Unless it's ours, of course, you should think about your own brand. And this is where we can help you, like we help many other businesses. We can see here, we have Shehu Coffee. It's a really great coffee shop, Lorenzo's, located in Guildford. Stoke Road in Guildford, okay, in Surrey. We have here Burchino, which is located in Windsor. It's a small coffee van that actually produces a lot of coffee. We have Rio Daily, which is coffee with stories. They are located in Maidenhead, and they're also a very famous coffee shop. Now, all those people, what do they have in common? They understood the importance of branding. Branding for your business. It could be branding on your coffee cups, it could be branding of your coffee, cutlery, etc. The branding for your small business is very important, because then people will associate either drinking a good coffee with your coffee shop, either had a good meal with your restaurant. So the importance of branding is really essential to grow the business. I repeat it again, it's essential to growing your business. And it's one of the options that can amplify your business. Imagine we can do the same for you. We can ask you what type of coffees do you like, and go on a few sample sessions, find out what kind of coffee you would like to sell to your customers. Maybe we can even take your existing coffee that you might already like, but you might not be happy with the price. We can break it down, have a look where it's been sourced, what origin of coffee it is, blend it for you, and actually make your coffee with your own label. You will be name of your cafe with a QR code or barcode, and also it will have the back label telling your customer if you want to sell it per kilo or per 500 grams. Will tell you exactly how to use your coffee. The other benefit is that we don't put any of our addresses on apart from the batch number. That's all that will be associated with us, with our roastery. You, on the other hand, will have your brand name and your address and contact details displayed on your coffee. And if you're a coffee shop, you can sell it as normal on your machine, or you can sell it Christmas or during festive periods in smaller bags or bigger bags for your customers to take home, and they will think that it is your coffee. And it is your coffee. It's not a marketing scam or anything like that, because we're going to ask you for your taste preferences, then develop the coffee according to those measurements. The other big benefit that you will have there, that we can go with different colored packaging. We prefer right now using the natural, biodegradable, biocompostable packaging, the craft paper. And we also always will put best before date and roasted on date, which you cannot really compete on, because most supermarkets, most Lavazza coffees, they don't even have roasted on date a lot of the times. And a lot of the times, coffee that you're picking up from wholesalers being set up there for maybe a year or two, or been roasted a year or two ago. And therefore, when you're brewing that coffee, it's not as fresh and it doesn't maximize the taste qualities. So if you want to have your own branded coffee, look no further, click a link in bio, and we will get back to you with our proposition. Now, what are we likely to propose to you? First of all, we'd like to take a sample of your coffee that you may already like. If you don't have the coffee you like, we have many blends you can choose from, 6 or 7 blends, which you can try and tell us which one you like. We can mix and match, and then produce you the coffee will be with your preferences. And no one else will be able to buy your coffee or sell your coffee other than you, because we have exclusivity deal with you where we can put your label coffee only towards you. Okay, only for your business. And I guess I said you can choose from different sizes, colors. You can have smaller bags, bigger bags, retail packaging that you can do, where you use a QR code, barcode at the back, product description. This all can be customized that will suit your needs and requirements. And it is a really great way to grow your business, something else we can do for you. Now, a lot of people have asked me, how many kilos of coffee I need to buy from you so I can get my own label? What are the requirements? Is it more expensive? Let me reassure you, it is not more expensive. As long as you're ordering 6 kilos of coffee per week, this can be done for you at no extra cost than what you would pay for our own branded coffee. But likewise, 6 kilos of coffee per week is 64 kilos a month. So as long as you're meeting those requirements, you can have your own branding at no extra price. The only slight price difference there will be if you will have different packages, or if you want different colors, they might have a little bit of a price increase. And of course, a lot of it will depend upon what goes inside your coffee. But we promise to be very competitive and ensure that you get a really good price. Likewise, don't forget, if we do your own labeled coffee, we can always come down in price a little bit as long as you have the demand. For instance, if you buy in 10 boxes, 60 kilos a month, that price may slightly come down. Now, the second factor that will determine how much you will pay for your kilo of coffee will be on what's inside, what type of beans, what origin. This will all impact the price. You have to understand, if you have 100% Arabica blend, it will be a certain price per kilo. If you have 80-90% Robusta blend, of course it will be a lot lower price per kilo. Then we will play around with the origin of the coffee. So that Sumatra will be more expensive than in Brazil, and so on. But we always will meet the market price and give you the best deal as long as you are meeting the criteria to buy that branded coffee. And all you need is to get a minimum order of 6 kilos a month. Do you think you can do that? If so, click a link in bio and see how we can help you. Thank you. Are you thinking about starting your own business? Perhaps you're a barista or you're a technical engineer for a big company, and you always wanted to own your own business or start your own business, but you don't want it to be too costly. You don't want to buy an existing business for 50K upwards, and you just lost what sort of business to start. Well, if you have any experience with coffee, being on the technical side or being on the side of actually making the coffees, like the hundreds and thousands of baristas in the UK, you can start earning money with me, with a Pearl Coffee. We're offering a franchise opportunity for anyone who is interested, and you will be under our umbrella with 7 days a week telephone support. We also, before signing you on, we're going to put you through a couple of courses, and you can start your own business. If you're interested in more details, please click link in bio, subject franchisee, and we will see you on the other side. Now, franchise opportunities. So what do we actually do? We provide you with a system and processes that help you run your business from the start easy, because we already have built it, and you just branching off as an offspring of the bigger chain where everything, the supply chain, the ordering, the system, the processes are all integrated. You just being a smaller version of that, you'll be able to benefit from systems and processes, invoicing, accounting, etc. You'll be looked after. So all you will have to focus on is actually doing the job and growing the business. Now, within our offer of a franchise offer, what we can do for you is actually teach you the technical side as well. So if you are a one-man band and that's how you want to go forward, we can actually put you through certain courses, and you can come over to overshadow us and our technical team on how actually to get the job done. And within a few months, you can start going off by yourself under our name, our own insurance, under your own business, and start providing technical support and earning your business the money. Now, with the coffee side, it's similar things applies. What we will do, we will provide you with all the samples, so you can go even tomorrow, give the samples to a few customers who you think might want to buy coffee from you, because when you're doing a sales, it's not just about the coffee that you're going to sell, it's also about you, because people buy from people. And if you're looking to start a smaller business, that's exactly what you will do, at least for the first few months and even a year. Now, we will provide you for free with those samples if you're interested, and you can get in the orders and see if you can do the sales. From there onwards, we can sign a deal where we can actually help you start the business and grow your business. Lots of things are important when you're starting the business. your technical skills, your selling skills, actually you being able to be available 24/7 to do the business. But you're saying to us, why should you go with us as a franchise opportunity instead of starting business on your own? Well, first of all, because you might not have the £100,000 or £50,000 to start the business. Only then to find out it may work, it may not work. With us, it will work. And if it doesn't work, you haven't lost the 50 or 100,000 pounds. So there again, you have that a bit more of that safety net. And also you're going to be benefiting from our brand, because our brand has been on the market for years and we already know what coffee people like. We have already a supply chain sorted. We have coffee in the production. We can produce 100 kilos in one day. We can produce 1,000 kilos in one day. So productive capacity isn't a barrier, which you would have that barrier if you were started business by yourself. If you're going to start a coffee business today by yourself, you're going to try and go into the roasters or the suppliers, and you may not get straight away the credit terms necessary or the finance necessary to buy those beans, because you will have to be faced with a minimum order. And some roasters might want you to spend £5,000 at a time and pay up front. Now you may not have that, and then you're thinking, well, I'm going to spend £5,000 on the coffee right now, spend money on a storage, dump it in a storage, and then try and sell it. Now you may not sell that ton, let's say in a month's time. You already spent £5,000. You have to make a living. How do you do it? With us, it's a lot easier, because with us, we will not make you order big quantities up front. Your minimum order could be even 50, 60 kilos at a time. And what's more important, we can ship directly to your customer within the UK. So you will not have to be doing coffee deliveries unless you wish to. Now, so you're taking that side out. Now, what else you're going to focus on is technical support, because our business is two businesses in one. One is the sales of coffee and coffee products. The other is technical support. Now, if you're a barista and you make really good lattes, you're making superb drinks, you know the customer service, you might be aware of some of the owners in the coffee industry, but you haven't got the technical support. You haven't got the tools to do the job, and you don't know where to buy the spare parts to repair the coffee machine. You don't know what kind of tools, hammers, screws you need to repair the machine. Neither you know where to buy the spare parts from. Well, we can help you there as well, because we have all that in hand. When you become a franchisee, we will give you all the tools that you might need, the Allen keys, the spanners, the screws, the gaskets to do the job, and we will give you spare parts. So you will be able to do that job 100% every single time. Now you may say, well, it's very good, but I'm not technically trained, I'm just a barista. You don't have to worry about that. We're gonna put you on a few courses. You can come and overshadow us in our business for a few days and see how the job is done. And then once you're confident enough, you can start going after your own customers and earning the money. Now, anytime you get stuck, you can always call one of our engineers who can help you over the phone to diagnose the problem and tell exactly what part to replace. Of course, you won't be perfect from day one or even in the first 6 months, but that's why you got always our help and support as our franchisee. We can come and always help you out if you get stuck, because you are a part of our family, our extended family. Okay, let's say for the sake of an argument, you are already an engineer and you're perfect on your tools, you know how to repair all sorts of machines, etc., etc. That's also great. Now, to start their business without the franchisee, all we'll need to do is just to teach you how to sell, because we've done sales courses for that. You can overshadow us for that. We can give you lots of brochures and materials to help you make the sales, whether it's free samples of coffee or the brochures that you may want to give your clients in order to sell the coffee. You may not need, obviously, because you've been maybe doing your engineering work on espresso machines for years on end, and you already know how to repair a machine. You just don't know how to sell the machine. You may not know how to sell a coffee. But that's, again, those sets of skills we can teach you. All we need from you is to have the motivation and the commitment to give us a discovery call to fill in your details, and we can give you a call and talk you through our business opportunity, where you can own your own business, have support 24/7, have access to courses, sales training, technical training, have access to all the brochure and sales material at your disposal, and have the support 24/7 to actually do your business, sales, KPIs, own branding for your coffee shop, for your coffee, having your own branded coffee. We're going to be talking about the franchise opportunity with us. We're going to speak to you about how you can become a smaller version of a Pearl Coffee and start earning money by doing technical support, providing technical support and selling coffee. So a lot of people think about KPIs. A lot of people don't even know what KPIs are, but KPIs are key performance indicators or key performance measures. Basically, how are you measuring your success? How are you determining what you need to do right and wrong? This is what the standpoint of KPI is. And KPIs are very similar for a lot of businesses, but they're going to be a little bit different for the coffee and the food industry. So let's speak about this. KPIs can be thought of as your sales, turnover, profit, gross profit, cash left at hand, bank balance, creditor debitor reports, all these things. And this is great. These are the financial, the spreadsheet. But there are the key performance indicators that you should be paying attention, especially if you're a coffee shop, cafe or restaurant owner. And what are these? The quality of coffee, quality of food, staff retention, cost control, shrinkage, and food waste. And these are the 5 elements that you're either gonna get right or stay broke. Let's break it down and talk to you what is actually each one of those elements. Quality of coffee. Quality of coffee is your KPI. It should be your KPI. You need to ask yourselves whether customers are currently happy with coffee. Do you have return customers? Any positive or negative comments you're getting? Do you have a comment card that you can leave with a customer and they can write for you what they thought about the experience in your coffee, what they thought about your coffee? If you haven't got that, then you can't measure it KPI. So please start doing it. Also, as a part of that, are you looking after your coffee machine? Is all your equipment, the coffee machine and the grinder, calibrated to extract the perfect cup of coffee every single time? How you can measure it? You can check the machine on a daily basis. You can taste coffee yourself or have one of your managers taste the coffee to know whether you are actually delivering quality or not. And remember, the freshness affects the taste. Make sure that you are not over-ordering or under-ordering, and your coffee beans are as fresh as possible. With us, we have a promise of 4 to 6 weeks turnaround ratio, so we always make sure that the coffee you're putting in your grinder, in your hopper, is never more than 6 weeks old from roasting date. And that's why in all our coffees we have roasted on, best before. And not a lot of companies have a roasted on date, because some of the coffees that maybe you're currently buying been roasted 2 years ago. It's not going to be fresh. It's not going to be great. Carrying on with quality of coffee. Are your staff trained to deliver consistently good coffee? Even if you got it right, you got the good coffee, you got our coffee, and it's freshly roasted and your equipment is calibrated. The 5th element is your barista, and you have to have a barista that is making good coffee. Sometimes it's not enough just to go on a course for baristas to learn how to make a good coffee. They have to be motivated, either via financial incentive that you're going to give to your baristas so they don't muck up the job, so they are motivated to do a good job, or what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to start disciplining the staff within the coffee industry, which I don't see enough people are doing it, Costa discipline their staff, their management, their baristas if they don't make a good coffee, if they don't follow protocol or the standards. And you're not doing it because I understand in a little coffee shop and a little business industry, you're always afraid, are you going to lose your staff? How are you going to find your new staff? But if you're doing things right, you won't. And the right people will stay. But again, that's all down to you. How are you wanting to measure that quality of food? Again, your coffee shop or restaurant, you will have bigger or larger menus. You will have different foods in there. Do you have a comment box where customers can maybe fill up your questionnaire or give you the answers to what they think about food? Maybe they can give you some useful suggestions of what they would like to see your cafe or restaurant offer on their menu. And how do you motivate staff to do that? You can give them a free cup of coffee or free cake, slice of cake, if they fill up that questionnaire, because you need to know what people are thinking. You need to collect some data so you can implement some changes from which you can improve your business, improve your profit, improve your sales. And it can also help you to understand what to focus on, because maybe you have on the menu something that no one is buying and people are disliking it. And you don't have the data in front of you because no one has ever said it to you. While you having that questionnaire or the comment box, you can collect that data and find out for yourself, because not all the time people are going to leave you a bad Google review. Sometimes they just say, you know what, I'm not going to go to that restaurant or coffee shop anymore, and I can't be bothered to put a Google review, because they might be polite, they don't want to ruin your Google reviews, and they're just going to leave. But you will never know what happened. But if you have a comments box, you're more likely to find out the truth. Shrink. Number 3 is shrink. There are some known losses within the business, and there are some unknown losses of the business. And the unknown loss would be your shrink. It's also a very important part of a KPI. And you should be understanding where you have lost money. Maybe your barista gave too many coffees for free. Maybe staff had too many coffees for free. And that's where your shrink could be. Maybe you had some deliveries that were partially delivered, not delivered. Now you need to investigate that as a business owner to find out where that missing money went and have that accountability. Because if you don't, you might be losing a lot of money every month, year on year, of your unknown losses. Also within that, you need to check your invoices, delivery notes, to see that you are receiving what you have ordered. Now, sometimes it's no supplier's fault. They can just get things wrong and send it to you. But if you, on the other end, don't check, you don't know what has happened. With us, we are very peculiar about that. We always double check what we are sending out to what customer is receiving. And we always have a policy where we say, if anything is damaged, within 3 days of you noticing, let us know, and we will send you another one. Okay? So be vigilant, check your invoices, check your delivery notes, make sure nothing is missing, make sure you know about your lost sales through shrinkage, whether it's through theft, whether it's through something missing, damaged or broken, and you need to be logging those in and knowing where your money is going every month. And again, it brings us to our 4th point, is the cost control, because sometimes shrink you can't control. If someone stole something, there's nothing you can do about it. But then there are some costs that you can control. And how you should be doing it, approaching this, is you should be looking whether you are doing any impulse buys. A lot of times, from my own reviews and from speaking to customers on a daily, weekly basis, I'm finding out that when they're going to Costco or Macro, any wholesaler, they always pick something in their trolley what they don't need or what not gonna sell in a cafe. One thing you can do is plan your order, write a list, and only shop by the list, or even place orders online. Then you are less likely to impulse buy. You're gonna save money, and you're saving money, you're gonna put your profits up. Also here with the cost control is something important to understand, is sometimes if you plan your orders and you can work out how much coffee you need for a month or 2 months, and you want to save a little bit of money, you can always approach your suppliers, or you can approach us with regards to coffee, and you can say, well, we are happy to order enough coffee for the next 1 to 2 months. And my team or I will sit down and say, okay, how much you would like to order for 2 months ahead, 3 months ahead. We have some people who are doing this. And the reason they approached us is because they're looking to save a little bit of money, keeping ahead of the curve. They're worried about potential prices going up, etc., etc. We said, no problem, let's have a look. I'm as a supplier, I want to help you. You as a customer, you want to save money. Let's meet and have a look what we can do. If we dispatching you orders every single week, right, it costing us money. Maybe £9 for DPD, maybe £10 for DPD. Okay, let's say instead of us supplying you every single week, us supplying you once a month. We only pay one-time postage, one-time packing. That's saving us money, cost per order or cost per service. So we can maybe pass that on to you. And therefore you can save money. Now if you can approach all your suppliers and plan wisely and buy months ahead or 2 months ahead, you can save yourself some money. And that again going to be your cost control. Staff retention, I'm really passionate about this because when you're growing your business and almost every coffee shop and restaurant have staff. Now staff I've seen throughout past 10 years I've been in the industry that staff are always quick to go there, find another job, they don't like it, don't like that. And there's a reason for this. They're getting paid shit money, let's be facing. A lot of times in the coffee shops, people are getting paid shit money. It's simple as that. I'm being direct and truthful. I'm not beating around the bush. I'm telling you how it is. They're getting paid shit money. That's why they sometimes can deliver shit service, turn up late, and they don't always care about every cup of coffee they produce. Yes, there are some good people who, irrespective of the pay, irrespective of the weather, will always try and do the best job. But these are the few and not the majority. So how do you motivate the majority of people to perform for your business to make great cup of coffee? By giving them an incentive. For instance, you know the coffee shop is selling 150 cups of coffee every single day, regardless who is behind it till, who is behind the machine, regardless. So what you could say is to that Joe or Rebecca, you say, look, you're baristas, and if you manage to go over 150 cups of coffee a day to 200 and 300, I will give you 1 to 2% of the sales. Therefore, they're more motivated now to sell more coffee. They're more motivated to tell their friends, you know what, come for lunch here, come for lunch to us instead of you going in there. They will be more motivated to do a good sale. They're more motivated to make a great cup of coffee. They're more motivated to tell people to come to lunch to the cafe where they're selling the coffee. And that is the basis. That is so simple, really. But you don't want to do it because you think it's going to cost you too much money. Let's work out. 150 cups times 3 is what, £450. If let's say they reach £450, you give them, what is it, 3%. You give them extra 10 quid, extra 12 quid. It's not a lot of money, Everybody should be doing this because then the barista job going to be looking at, actually, you know what? I'm delivering good coffee. It's actually something to be proud of. I'm going to tell everybody I'm a barista. And that's where we want to go because the future holds coffee not going to get cheaper. Electricity bill not going to get cheaper, but the experience of the coffee is going to get more expensive. More expensive because it will be better quality. Guys, very important in business, speaking to all the small business owners, cafe, restaurants, is your fixed cost. The biggest fixed cost that you always will be facing is your rent, paying your landlord your rent. You're going to be stressing about the payments. You probably are at the moment stressing about the payments, this agreement, how long you're going to got left. Are you going to carry on after this finishes? Are you going to renew? You're going to pay rent? I'm not going to pay rent. You worry about this. This is a fixed control, fixed cost. Now you cannot change it directly and always because you can't always negotiate with the landlord. He will say, that's it, off, yeah? That's it, or fuck off, yeah? So, don't worry about it, but what can you control are maybe some of the variable costs, right? Or even if you want to control this cost because you just can't get in your head £5,000 a month going for rent for that coffee shop or for that restaurant, you can think, okay, how many days a week I am open? okay, 5, 6, can you sublet it for one day to someone else? If you're a coffee shop opening 7 to 7, can you sublet it to a restaurant or someone who want to do delivery food and help you pay that bills, that rent bill? And that is the way a little bit you can subsidize and economize on your rent. But I wouldn't focus too much on that if you can affect it. I would go to look at your variable costs. Let's talk about those. Variable costs. Something very little and so basic, just as fuel. A lot of coffee shop owners are shopping. They're going to Booker's, Macro almost every single day. Again, we talked about this because they're not planning their journey. They could be saving so much money if they place their coffee orders once per month instead of doing it every week. We can save you money. If you want to buy coffee and get a better price, and you are willing to plan your orders and buy once a month, click a link in bio. We will be happy to share the good price with you. Anyway, with variable costs and fuel, you don't need to be going shopping every single day if you can avoid it, because that's costing you time to travel from your coffee shop to the wholesaler, then to come back. So you're spending 1 or 2 hours driving, which you could be using for making money. You're spending probably 10, 12 quid every single day in fuel, which you don't need to be spending if you just shopped either online and plan your orders. This is simple but very effective tool. Also, as what we spoke about before, is impulse buying. The more planning you do, the less you impulse buy. Electricity. Electricity is second, also very important, and actually is a variable cost. What I would suggest to everyone who is worried, be the homeowners, be the coffee shops and restaurants, you can find better suppliers. Try to find better suppliers that are more cost effective. Maybe Octopus Energy can help you. Maybe they can give you better quote. Now, smart meters, people say about smart meters, but I've been investigating this for a while. They might not always be the best. So do your research. Definitely contact some electricity companies. See what they can give you and get a better deal. Also, something simple you can do is check your bills, submit your bill readings, and always try to get a better deal so you can shop around for a better electricity supplier. Now, I'm carnivore and I'm very supportive of the farmers in the UK. Actually, farmers are the cornerstone and the backbone of the society. Now, if you want to eat good, healthy food, you are probably trying to shop at the local farm shops or even with the small farmers directly. You are what you eat. So the more positive food, the more healthy food you put in your body, the healthier you will be, the longer you will live, and the better quality of your life you will have. I'm pro-meat eater. I support people drinking raw milk, eating eggs, and having a good diet, really a carnivore diet. And I've seen from my experience that it has cured people of some illnesses, raw milk and raw meat. I have seen people who have been cured from eating raw milk and having good organic farm meat. I was told that a lot of people are lactose intolerant. That if they drink so much milk, they will have upset stomach. But yet I witnessed on my own eyes that when they try a raw milk, which is unhomogenized, unpasteurized, they all of a sudden can drink a liter, half a liter at a time, and they do not feel any laxative effects. They feel no cramps, no pain. And I can say, well, how can that be put down? Well, that is why I want to shout out about the farmers, the fact that we have to support farmers. And how can we support farmers is actually by planning our food shopping. All of us, whether it's a business or it's a household, and actually going to the farm shops or to the farmers directly. If we support them this way, they are less likely to sell their land, and they're more likely to be happy to run after the cows. Because if farmers don't run after the cows, you're going to have a synthetic meat, It's a big on the agenda right now, synthetic meat, and you're gonna have only a supermarket milk available, which isn't the best, okay? So, if you want to support farmers, the best thing you can do is go and shop local, go and shop directly with the farms. Now, the one very big mistake that I see cafes are making is they're not offering big enough breakfast, or they're not offering a healthy choice breakfast, okay? They're only offering a standard, small English or big English. Do you know what? After a workout, I come into a coffee shop and I say, yo, yeah, I want to have a big fucking breakfast. Yeah, I want 4 eggs, I want 2 sausage. But you know, most people also feel like me, but they don't want to go up to the cafe. They look at the menu and say, oh, it's not on the menu. Can I ask for something that is not on the menu? And they will say to you sometimes, I've asked that, they say to you, oh no, well, it's not on the menu, we can't make it. And I think it's not good enough. It's not good enough really, because in the UK there's a lot of people who are going into gym, a lot of people who are training. And let's face it, not being derogatory, but a lot of people like to eat big. They like to stuff. That's why they go to the buffets, right? Because they want to eat so much, they get up and they say, I can't walk, but I enjoy myself. 60 quid I've eaten of food, and I probably had 3 massive plates and a dessert because I'm greedy. And who are we to judge? The guy wants to eat big, the lady wants to eat big, they should be able to eat big. But what the problem is the cafe is not offering that. Because I've seen actually one cafe in Basingstoke, shout out to Ronnie, who actually does offer a big boy breakfast. This is the best breakfast I had is at Basingstoke, their Big Chef Cafe. They offer you, if you're on a diet, you can go for a avocado and a little egg and a little toast and be all that fitness first model. Or you can go and actually have a big boy breakfast, which will be suited for someone who is into powerlifting, training, and someone who just wants to eat big. Because if you're like me, I like to eat my breakfast big because I don't have lunch. I eat twice a day in 12-hour intervals. And a lot of people are going into this health craze, health fanatic, fitness fanatic journey and finding out about this intermittent fasting and so on, and how beneficial this is to the health. And if cafe and restaurants are not reading about this, if they're not knowing about this, they won't be able to offer something that people might want. So make sure you look at your menu. Tell people, look, you can make your own breakfast, because I don't always want to eat just a fried egg. I want to have an option, fried egg, poached egg. I want to have boiled egg also as an option if I'm on a bit of a diet. But I want to have 4 or 5 eggs. So just say, extra £1.50 per egg. Excuse me, can I have 6 eggs? Boiled? Yeah, boiled 6 eggs. And a little toast, thank you. Place an order, sit down, I'm being served. Because if you go into most cafes, you just have small breakfast, big breakfast, and not even a healthy breakfast on an option. You have veggie breakfast, but who wants that? I already told you I'm a carnivore meat eater. Guys, as you know, I'm always giving you saving tips how to improve your business, how to grow your business. I also give you tips on how to control the cost in your business, because the less costs you have, the higher is your profit. And if there are any costs that you don't need to pay, then you can save yourself on bills and have higher profits. Have more cash left at hand after your day. If you don't pay bills that you don't need, you just might be left out with a bit more disposable money that you can go and spend on clothes and other things. Now, very big topic, very passionate about it, the parking tickets. I'm actually pissed off about the parking tickets. Now, I, like you and everyone else, I started driving, I had a few little parking tickets. And over my career of 15 years driving, I collected quite a few. And it was at one moment I woke up and I said, hang on a second, what is the actual law about this shit? What is actual law? Now, people told me, you know what, Nick, don't get yourself into trouble. Don't get yourself into trouble, just pay your tickets, be a good boy. I said, yeah. I said to myself one day, fuck you, right? I said to myself, fuck you. fuck you telling me I'm a big boy and I'm going to do things the right way. I thought I actually going to look into the law. What is the law? English Constitution, Magna Carta, the common law, which says as long as you do no harm, no loss, no injury, you are okay. You are within your rights to do what you like. Now I thought about this. If I overpark my vehicle 5 minutes over the allowed specified time, I'm billed 35 quid and 70 quid if I don't pay within 14 days. I thought about this and I thought, how does my vehicle that is being parked for a little bit longer than should incur a fine? Are they allowed to do this? Is there any legal basis? And I have not found any proof that they have any legal basis. Because my vehicle, just what I told you from common law, has done no harm, no loss, no injury. If I park my vehicle here and I stay 5 minutes, I don't hit anybody, I cause no harm. I don't scare anybody, I don't hit anybody, I cause no injury. If me being parked here longer than 5 minutes, I don't cause you any loss of money, how can you bill me? How is there any standpoint or basis for you to charge me? And the thing is, there is none. Second thing, when they ask you to pay, instead of £35, £75 because it's over a 14-day period, I'm thinking it's a double bubble. They're gangsters or something, those people. They're a private company, just like me and just like you, right? They're a private company, limited private company. How can they impose this kind of bills on me? I was told by my accountant, a legal firm, that I'm allowed to charge you, the debtor, only 8% annual, and yet they're charging me double bubble. Now, I don't understand this, and I don't think this is right. Now, so what's the practical advice besides just being angry and shouting? Very easy. The practical advice would be such that you need to ask or write back to them and tell them, do we have a contract? Because I can't remember when I signed it, I agreed to your terms and conditions. In law, strictly in law, in legalese language, no contract, no pay. No contract, no pay. So that's what I've been telling to all those people I collected the parking fines from. It's not me being rude, it's me being honest with you. Because you want to know who I've argued. I even argued with road user charging adjudicated tribunals, which was for congestion zone in London. Because I told them, hear me out, I told them, look, I've got a British passport, yeah, and you want to charge me because I went 1 mile over some artificial border. Are you mad? Right, I argued with people about the ULEZ. I've argued with people about the Bristol Clean Air Zone. I said, Bristol Clean Air Zone, you couldn't find a better name for it. So you say in Peterborough or in Reading or in Swindon there is no clean air, but you think that here is going to be a clean air. Now, practical advice, what I would tell you to do is always to make a little appeal, because you are even within their rights, which they imposed on you, to make an appeal and find out whether they can pinpoint to you exactly the section of the law under which you are under obligation to pay a parking fine. Show me in a Bill of Rights, in Magna Carta, in any other on a part of a constitution where I have to pay or you have to pay for those parking restrictions. You see, when I submitted so many letters, they never really replied to me. Very few have replied. Very few have replied because they know that they cannot show me a piece of contract, a piece of evidence necessary to tell me that I have signed for their terms and conditions and I'm happy to pay on their terms. They can't find it. Now, I'm not a paralegal or I'm not a lawyer to tell you what to do, but as analogy suggests, as the development suggests, is that if many of us do make an appeal, ask for evidence where you sign a contract, where you're under any obligation to pay, make a payment, then we will at least, as a minimum, if you don't win the case, at least as a minimum, it will be harder for them to get their money. And if it's harder for them to get their money, maybe they will not start charging us. And I know you might say, look, Nick, some people are rich, don't care about it. Of course, they don't care to a certain extent, but anyone who is wise enough will understand that, spending £60, £70 here, if you've been driving a long time, you can collect probably £1,000 to £2,000 parking tickets a year. All right? And it's not an expense that you should be paying for. I mean, I've been investigating this, and I have, to this day, have not received one real reply where it said that Mr. So-and-so, you are under obligation to pay due to the act such and such, specified here and there. I have been told, though, that apparently when you sign for your driving license, you agree to the terms of the road. Well, you see, the terms of the road, maybe road signs, right, zebra crossing, etc. But it's nothing says there about private limited companies who own a bit of a car park or a side of the street, which are mainly councils, but council again is also a private company, if you didn't know, right? They shouldn't be allowed to do that. And if more of us put the request to show us where our obligation to pay is, where we have signed a contract, then okay, we can maybe agree to that, but they can't. They can't. Until that day, you shouldn't be paying it. In my opinion, again, ladies and gentlemen, it may be no stranger to you, but no one is under obligation to tell you the truth. No one. Not your accountants, not your supplier people. Really, they are not under any specific obligation to tell you any truth or give you any advice. Okay, why? Why? Because they're not your parents. I know we have all been brought up in a culture where we want to be living better. We even believe American dream, that you need to work very, very hard to earn a lot of money, which is good, but also the bad, because you can be stuck at your job, making a coffees for the rest of your life, and you will never make enough money to buy that 6-bedroom, cul-de-sac family home. So what you need to do is you need to start investigating the Da Vinci Code, start cracking the Da Vinci Code. And the only way you can do this is by joining people who are the same like-minded. It's very easy if you have come from a wealthy background where you have everything handed to you and you have received secrets passed from father to son, granddad to granddad, and so forth. But if I ask you, the average viewer, the 98% of us, if I ask, do you know who your great-grandfather is? Most of you will not know the answer. If I ask your father, go home today, ask your father, do you know who your great-granddad is? Ask your granddad if he knows his great-granddad. Most of them, they won't be able to answer you. Not sure, muddled up story, whatever. The thing is, because if you're sad but true, if your great-grandparents were traders or merchant of wool, or steel or iron or coal, you would have inherited a lot of land. You would inherit a farm in the UK, for instance, a mansion, a castle, or something of that sort. But the truth is that your generation have been people, the rest, put it that way, 98%. Okay? Now, you shouldn't be sad about it. You should be motivated because you get a chance to climb the ladder, maybe in this life, and leave a legacy for your children and for your loved ones. And the way you need to do it is to start studying business, studying the law, right? Understanding what's happening and how you can deviate from all the negatives and how you can make things happen. As long as you have a good attitude, as long as you work hard and you're willing to invest in your business, you're willing to think about the products that can help your business grow, then I can tell you, you are on a ladder to success. Now, the other thing that is important to understand is, like I said in my previous video about parking tickets, Studying law is very important because by studying law, you can avoid costs that are not necessary. You can understand how to avoid certain things that you don't need to pay. And saving costs can obviously lead you to have more money left at the end of the year, at the end of the month in your personal bank account, because that's what matters. If you are still thinking what business to start, or you're thinking about some other business to do in the next year, I would say to you, the best, the most cost-effective, the most hassle-free, risk-free opportunity for you is to join us and our team and open, and maybe you might be the right person to be the franchisee. We can help you open, you hear me right, open your own business where you can be doing similar things to us, selling coffee, selling technical support, repairing machines on customer sites, refurbishing them, what's not, and be the mini business of ours. We will help you grow because you're helping us grow. If that's something you're interested in, click the link in bio, put the franchise opportunity, and we will get back to you for a discovery call. Hello again. What the future holds. Are we going to see the bright side or the dark side? No one knows and no one can tell you. However, one thing is certain, death and taxes. You've been told about that many times in your life. So, higher prices is inevitable for the future. Everything is going up. If you look, prices in 1800s and 1900s going up. Prices in 2000s and right now, it's all a steep curve. It's only going one way and it's up. Unless something will change in the nearest future, which none of us can predict. So, practical advice from that onwards. You need to put your prices up. Prices of your coffee gonna go up, and prices of your coffee per cup should also go up. Because if you don't do this, you will not survive. But in doing so, you shouldn't be afraid, because everyone is afraid to put their prices up. What you should do, you should look at their competitor, do competitor analysis. Is Costa put their prices up? Is Starbucks? Is other people putting their prices up? And if they are, you just put it up slowly, slowly, slowly. The thing is, the coffee is such an important element in our life. We are addicted to coffee. We are addicted to caffeine. We are addicted to the fact to be able to sit with a friend and talk something over versus having a cup of coffee. So coffee is essential. It's also a basic commodity, and it's also an affordable luxury. And as the studies suggest, in countries that are in a recession or there's huge currency devaluation or inflation, people are still drinking coffee. So there's not something you should be worrying about. I think it's important to distinguish whether you are a cafe, where you're serving a breakfast and you're doing a lot of food, or you are a coffee house, which is primarily, the main product is coffee, maybe a little biscuit, a little sandwich, and a little croissant. Well, if you can't be both, I think it's very hard to be both, and very few people can do it right, to do both, because it really distracts the customer. You see, if you are a cafe with the breakfast, you need to have a good machine, good grinder, good coffee that 99% of people like. And you can have one or two blends. And that's it, because people are not just coming to your cafe for the coffee, they're also coming for a good quality food, which is also your main selling point and your unique selling point. Now, if you, on the other hand, a coffee house, right, then you need to have a few blends of coffee available. You need to have good machine. You need to have 3-4 grinders. You have to give so many coffee options. You have to have bigger coffee menu, because you are there for the experience of coffee. Coffee is your main selling point. And little did you know, we cater for both markets. We have a single origin beans. We have traditional coffees that are 70-30 Robusta to Arabica blend that are really good and are under £13 a kilo. If that's something you're interested in, click the link in bio, click on our website and have a look. Or as a minimum, click on our website, leave your details behind, and we will give you a call and you can see whether we can open an account for you and start trading with you. Guys, coffee shop, tea shop, is the essence of the community. It's a synergy of the community. The coffee is an important element. That's where people go to meet in coffee shops, to have a business conversation, to catch up with a friend, or just to enjoy the caffeine hit and kick. And that's why the coffee shops, cafe really become the center of the community, because people socialize mainly in those places right now. And the other part, of course, is the gyms, which we've spoken in other episodes. And that's why we think the gyms also need to introduce a selection of teas and coffees, because especially the independent gyms, their only survival is based upon how many customers, paying customers they have. And they can only sell to so many customers because their gym floor space is so big. They can't sell 1,000 maybe or 2,000 gym memberships because the space is limited. But what else can they do while they have a little 2x2 meter square space, for example? They can introduce a coffee for their customers, maybe a few seats, if not, because that will help them increase their sales, because coffee is something people can drink as a pre-workout. Coffee is something that people want to drink after they leave the gym, as they're walking home with a friend, or as they're driving back in their car. And you know they're going to stop at the petrol station and get a fucking Costa, right? So why don't you put the coffee machine in your gym? By the way, good idea for the gyms. We sell bean-to-cup coffee machines. That's right, bean-to-cup coffee machines for which you don't need the barista. It's so simple. You can just click, press the button, and you have a coffee. And you can charge anywhere from upwards of £2 or more per cup of coffee. This is something we can install at your premises. If you are an independent gym owner and you want to put a bean-to-cup machine in your coffee shop, click the link in bio. Let's get in touch. But also, if you are a gym and you can have a bigger space and maybe a few sitting areas, you maybe can put barista-operated machines and make a wider selection of drinks, the lattes, espressos, and be really good at it. And then all of a sudden, people will be coming to your gym. Later on, the personal trainers will be writing up forms and training programs with their clients with a cup of coffee set at the gym. Then people might be coming visitors for their partners, can sit and have a cup of coffee, and people leaving the gym can have a cup of coffee, coming in can have a cup of coffee as a pre-workout. I've told you previously, pre-workout you buy for £2, you sell it for £2.20. You got a 10% margin. Even if you sell it for £2.60, you have a 30% margin. Coffee will cost you literally 10 to 50 pence to make, depending if you have milk or not, and you will sell it for £2.50. It's no brainer what margins are there for you to have in coffee. And people are getting more health conscious. They don't want a pre-workout sugar, taurine, stimulants that you don't actually need in your system. And a lot of people are realizing that caffeine or coffee that's been well roasted, been very well checked, has no bad ingredients in it, no mytoxins, or all sorts of things. We actually take care about our coffee. Our coffee is well roasted, is toxins free, and that's where you can make money. So gyms, think coffee, think community, think how much more you can gain of revenue by having that machine at your gym, offering the feel of community where people can sit and catch up and talk gym and coffee. Besides the coffees, besides the 6 top blends of coffees, besides the decaf options available in beans and pre-ground format, we also supply restaurants and coffee shops with teas. We pride ourselves by selling virtual tea. They're very good, packed here in the UK. Really lovely aromatic teas, many different available, lemongrass, English breakfast, just to name a few, as well as chamomile, red berry, and so many more. And it's really a premium teas because you can't buy them in supermarket, you can't buy them in the wholesalers, you can only buy them through agreed distributors, for which we are, and now you can benefit by buying a really good English virtual tea from us. So look no further. If you're interested, click the link in bio. Click on the website, have a look through, try us out. Guys, moving on from parking tickets, TV license is something that you probably don't even pay anymore. And actually, you're not under obligation to pay because you don't watch TV. Now, I've conducted research and done the research, and I've seen that 50% of people don't even pay anymore TV license, because if you don't watch TV, don't watch the programs, you're just using it for Netflix, you can argue that you're not using it. And a service that you do not require, you shouldn't have to pay for. So a bit like a parking fines, same as a TV license, there is something in our cost control which you don't need to pay. Now, rich people are not going to shout about it too much. And why rich? Maybe the elites, maybe the people on another level. It's for two reasons. Either they are the ones who have those businesses, because if you have a parking business, you can just put it on everyone's car, pay. People without having too much law knowledge, never studied law, don't even know we have English constitution, never heard of this, never heard of that, to know their legal standpoint, will just pay it because they don't want to hustle, appealing, they don't know their rights, and they just say, okay, I pay £35. And that's what they count on. The people that are naive, scared, because my favorite quote is this one. The fear has big eyes, and the TV tells us what? Big lies, sometimes. So pay attention. If you don't order a service, if you're not using a service, you don't have to pay for it. It's as simple as that. TV license, and it's not even a taboo now. It's obvious. Okay, but I thought I'd mention this as well, just in case I can save you 20 quid a month, then here you are. Welcome, a free tip. Now, with the parking fines, which I've gone over extensively already, with the parking fines, it's really also that simple, that you haven't signed a contract, you haven't ticked terms and conditions, basically you don't have to pay. But again, how they get you to pay? By sending you numerous letters, which are really like a threats of demand, which are the no legal basis. And then people get a little bit worried, because if you got a letter ever, I think people in business who've been in business a long time do have those letters. The letter before court. People say letter before court, wow, or they might even put there this will go to court, the Northampton court, or the county court, or the magistrate's court. People get very scared when they hear those words, and they immediately pay. Or that's what it's counted upon. But you can actually, myself, when I speak about something, I conduct the research not just by what I hear on the silly YouTube. I actually said once, I ain't gonna pay a parking ticket. And I haven't paid it. I haven't replied to any of the letters, because I tried different tactics, replying and asking them to provide me with the details of where I'm obliged to pay, where is the law says I have to. And I tried a different approach, that I just ignored all the letters compiled to me. And what happened? They come to my van. They wanted to put a clamp on my van. Well, there's a big clamp on my van. And I, of course, didn't let it happen at the time. So they buggered off. One time it happened nearly in front of my customer, which is that where I've paid to save the public image. But that is how I dealt with it. And actually, no one can do anything to you if you don't want to pay. There is nothing really in Western world that is, how can I say, forcible. Nothing really is forcible. People can't force you to pay. They can't force you to press a button or give you the cash. They can't force you. This is simply unwarranted demands. So I want you to be aware of this. It's up to you how you choose to play the game. Completely up to you. I'm not a legal advocate. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a paralegal, right? But I've been studying about this because I want to be a bigger businessman, more shrewd. And the only way I can do this is by knowing what sort of things have been happening. Now, don't think that those people who have established parking companies making millions, they're going to be just saying to you, know what, Nick, you said there's a letter, you said you don't want to pay, or we're just going to let you slip. Sometimes they do because they actually don't have enough authority. Sometimes they might try measures like coming to clamp your vehicle, but that's the maximum extent they can go to. So, if more of us sort of join the idea, I'm not advocating people should come together and go and beat up some parking fine people, or find their office up in Glasgow or up in Edinburgh, somewhere where they're based. No, I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying, look, educate yourself, if you get a parking ticket, if you've got the energy, if you got that charisma, write them. Why should I pay? Write them. Where did I sign a contract? I can't remember me signing a contract with you. You know? Something else pisses me off about. Think about this. This is really big. You pay insurance for your vehicle. So your vehicle is allowed to drive on the road. Now you pay council tax. Road tax. Start again. Okay. Number 3, guys. What I don't understand and what I find no one can explain, maybe you can explain, please comment below. You pay council tax. You pay road tax to be able to drive on the road. You pay, obviously, for your insurance company to be able to drive on the road. So if you paid for your private vehicle to be on a public road that you have paid for, what is then the basis for anyone to charge you for your vehicle because it's on a public road, whether it's parked there for 10 minutes or an hour? You already paid for it. You've paid for the road tax to be able to drive your private vehicle on the road. You pay through the road via paying road tax. So you already paid 2 taxes, and now you're being taxed again by a fine, parking fine, and it's 3 times. That's not right. And I said the only way you can change it, the only way you can change it is for yourself, is to make that appeal, or try and make it appeal and see what you learn. And look up the law on the parking. Guys, a call to action. Let's stay positive. Let's stay together. Let's progress in our industry. I want to see all coffee shops to be successful, all restaurant owners to be successful, and all UK business booming, because that's what we deserve. We have some of the best people up in this country doing a great hard work, and why shouldn't we have the fruitful results of that labor? Now, I'm going to ask you for the help. I'm going to ask you for the help to like, subscribe, and comment on any of my videos, because it's really important going forward. The more videos that you like, subscribe, or share, the bigger our community can grow, and the bigger guests we can bring to the show. Just like you've seen, we've done an interview with a Paul Selman, multiple times business owner, now a business trainer, coach at the Trade Mastermind, Joseph Valente's Academy in Peterborough, and also multiple public speaker at the big business events in London, Gherkin. So if you want to bring a guest of that caliber to talk about how to improve the business, at the same time rate and review our coffee and our other products, then please subscribe, share, and comment. Until then, thank you, stay tuned, stay healthy, and drink more coffee. Thanks.